If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio.
Oh. I'm still on duty, Mr. Devaney.
Pity.
So strong eye contact again, and one word, pity. It's so composed, guys. Like, he's not... A lot of guys in this moment, okay, let's just go back to where he is now. When she said, I'm still on work, a lot of guys would have said, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, sorry, I got the complete wrong idea. I apologize, I didn't mean to push that on you. I was just thinking, you know, they then try and explain it. He's just maintaining that eye contact. He hasn't flinched. Everything is as it was when she kind of walked in. He's very relaxed and composed. He's given off a masculine aura. Okay guys, welcome back to another body language analysis video. In this video we're going to be breaking down Henry Cavill's body language, and most specifically the way that he stays composed and relaxed in all situations. Now, in order to prove this, of course in films it's more of a hyperbole effect, but I've got 3 clips of him in films, and then I've got 1 clip of him in real life during interviews. And the title of that exact YouTube video is something like Henry Cavill in awkward moments. And the way he handles these awkward moments is just fantastic. He's never flustered. And I just think there's so much to learn from that. The way that he translates that in from his roles into his real life. And I think that's why he appeals to so many people. So let's get started with this clip.
Open.
So straight away there, guys, we can see. Look at this. Okay, so him saying it's open, but never lifting his head up. His eyes are fixed on his newspaper. Feet are up. He's completely composed and relaxed, never in danger.
Good evening, Mr. Devaney.
A very slow head turn. He's still in the same position, okay? Look, he's still got his feet up here. Still kind of reading this paper. He's just turned his head very slightly there in that direction, but very slowly and very slightly. He's still in control. He's composed. He's relaxed. He's in his own little world here, and he's allowing people to come into it rather than what a lot of men would do here. As soon as there's a knock on the door, they would throw the paper down. They would jump up. They would go to the door, answer it. He hasn't moved. He's just said it's open. You know, come in if you want. Like, I'm so composed. It's like nothing is a threat.
With the compliments of the hotel, I apologize it wasn't brought up earlier.
Thank you very much.
Is there
So another short response. Thank you very much.
anything else I can do for you?
It's a fine bottle of champagne. Be ashamed to drink it alone.
So another short response, as we said, guys, just to the point. That's what he's trying to get to. He's obviously making it apparent that he wants this woman. And that's one thing that will happen with women, okay, is they're very fearful of being called sluts, or, you know, women can have sex at will. If they just go outside for 10 minutes, they can find somebody who's willing. And they have to be very careful if a guy is being, you know, if he's ready to reject them or not. Is he being real? Is he being honest? Am I reading him incorrectly? You know, and they have to be very wary of this. Whereas men, we can just roll the dice and take a gamble, because if somebody rejects us or calls us ugly, it's like it doesn't really matter. We just keep rolling on. To women, their beauty is like their main asset in their minds. For a lot of women. And if they get rejected, it's just like Crumblesville. Their whole world just collapses around them. So you'll see this woman here trying to figure out what's actually going on, and watch what Henry does. It's obviously it is an awkward situation. So the way he just holds eye contact, the slow blink, he hasn't moved, okay? So look at this, just everything's still in place, exactly as it was when we started this video. Still holding the newspaper. He's not really used it as a barrier. He could have put it over here, used it as a barrier. He hasn't, okay? He's just maintained this very strong eye contact with this woman. And he's not got out of his seat. He's not made much of an effort. He's just so composed in all scenarios. So that's like 5 seconds, 6 seconds of just awkward eye contact. So he said what he wanted. She's finally clicked, as we can see here, the facial expression. He just sat and waited and just kind of trusted in what he said, in his confidence, in his ability to get the woman. He just knows what he wants. He put it out into the world. He just sat, held eye contact, and just waited for her to decide or to click and understand what he's getting at. It's just so powerful and composed. I love that.
Oh. I'm still on duty, Mr. Devaney.
Pity.
So strong eye contact again, and one word, pity. It's so composed, guys. Like, he's not... A lot of guys in this moment, okay, let's just go back to where he is now. When she said, I'm still on work, a lot of guys would have said, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, sorry, I got the complete wrong idea. I apologize, I didn't mean to push that on you. I was just thinking, you know, they then try and explain it. He's just maintaining that eye contact. He hasn't flinched. Everything is as it was when she kind of walked in. He's very relaxed and composed. He's given off a masculine aura. And he just says pity. And then puts the ball back in her court and says, go on, what do you want to do with it? You know, it's up to you.
But my shift ends in 5 minutes.
Sure we can find something to do for 5 minutes?
Okay, guys, so now we move on to this second clip, one that everybody's probably familiar with. It's the bar scene from Man of Steel, the Superman film. This guy's being a bit of a creep, just grabbing this girl's ass and whatever, and Henry Cavill has to come over.
Though, I'm serious.
Oh, come on, Chrissy.
Knock it off.
Sit down.
Let me go.
Hey.
So straight away he comes over, asserts dominance, strong arm on the shoulder, strong eye contact. Okay, it's a very dominant move.
Leave her alone, man.
Now this is important too, because in this kind of scenario here, if somebody gets up very quickly in a lot of scenarios, you might want to be on your toes ready because they could strike you. But a lot of people will kind of do this shit to intimidate you and whatever. And I'll explain how you use this in real life in a minute, because I imagine not many guys are going to be in this scenario. You know, let's not live in a fantasy world and believe we're all Superman. But I'll just explain quickly. The way he's flown out of his chair very quickly, he's within that kind of distance. It would be very easy here for Henry Cavill to take 1 or 2 steps back and panic and be like, oh shit, he's in my comfort zone. But he doesn't flinch. Obviously, he's Superman. It's different, and it's a series. It's a film. But he doesn't flinch. He stands his ground. He doesn't move. He doesn't react. Okay, this didn't worry him. It's very important. Now, how do you use this in real life? Could be a business situation where somebody gets quite close to you, gets in your face, invades your private space without being aggressive. Stand your ground. Don't take a step back. Don't lean back. Stand your ground and hold eye contact. You know, it could be on the street. Somebody's getting a little bit too close to you. Stand your ground again. There's just so many scenarios like this where somebody just walking you back is just very intimidating. And we'll see an example of that in a minute with Jaskier from The Witcher. You'll be able to see the difference.
Or what, tough guy?
Or gonna have to ask you to leave.
Now, I don't recommend looking down like Henry was there, okay? But the reason he's looking down is to play a character. It's he's Superman, he could batter this guy anytime he wants, but he chooses not to, and that kind of makes him attractive to women and very noble, and that's what they're trying to achieve. But this is a much better look, okay? Just standing your ground here, holding strong eye contact. There's nothing wrong with that, guys, okay?
I think I'll probably just leave when I'm good and ready.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this in real life because, you know, I encourage you guys to stand up for yourselves. If somebody did that to me, they'd probably be asleep. But at the same time, I just want to display how composed he is again. So very slowly lifting his head up. Again, maintains the strong eye contact. Didn't react, didn't say anything, didn't step back. You know, that's just the level of composure of the man. He plays that role very, very well. And it's actually something that he does in real life too.
Oh, there.
Now, to be fair, actually, guys, this scenario here, where somebody has just thrown a drink over your head, that's probably more likely going to happen to you with a female interaction. So if a woman ever does that, stay composed like this, react exactly like this. Just don't get aggressive. Just maintain eye contact. Just wait for the next move. And then just walk off. You're going to look like an absolute boss if you pull that off, okay? And if you've got a drink over your head, he probably deserved it in some aspects. So just maintain the masculine kind of role or dynamic. Just take it on the chin and walk out, okay?
Oh, there he is.
Now, of course, not many guys will be able to do that. You're a massive guy, still going to fall back a little bit. Nobody's Superman. But again, you can just see the composure on the guy.
It's not worth it, sweetie.
Yeah, asshole, don't.
And then he's getting out of the scenario, okay? So it's not too cowardly sometimes to walk away. If you know you can batter somebody, sometimes it's not worth it. You know, as the old saying goes, you can either end up in hospital or in prison. Nobody ever wins. So sometimes walking away does actually work really well if you know you are, an absolute tank.
Get your tip.
And again, completely unreactive, just very slow movements, no crazy facial expression. I tell you what's important in body language is being in control of your emotions, and that's exactly what Henry is in films and in real life. Okay guys, so as mentioned, we're moving on now to this scene with Jaskier in The Witcher. Now this guy is being aggressive towards Jaskier, he's pushing him backwards, and this is what I mentioned earlier. Watch the difference.
Thing about you reminds me of a scoundrel I once saw fleeing my wife's.
How cowardly does that look, guys? Now obviously like the arm being up in the air and whatever, and the kind of Salt Bay pinch kind of action he's got going on here doesn't look exactly too good. But when somebody is driving you backwards and you're taking, this is an exaggerated version of course, but somebody gets close to your face and you take one step back or you start leaning back, it just doesn't look too good. Stand up straight, maintain eye contact, stand your ground, okay? Like, people always say to me in the comments, yeah, but I'm a boxer or an MMA fighter. If you just stand up right, you're going to get pushed over easily. Like, guys, there's a difference between a fight and a face-to-face kind of altercation where how many face-to-face altercations actually lead to a fight? And number two, how many people can actually fight? It's like 1%, and then how many people can actually fight? Like 0.1%, okay? Most scenarios in life, you're just going to have two people kind of confronting each other, and it won't even be aggressive. Let's say there's a hot girl in a group. You have kind of been speaking to her, some guy comes over, he tries to be a dick by asserting dominance, he gets really close to you, maintains eye contact, takes like an extra added step towards you into your personal space, and you take a step back and lean back, and it makes you look very submissive. It's usually scenarios like that where it's not aggressive, you just have to stand your ground and just show that you do have a backbone as a man, okay?
Chambers.
Well,
Drop your trousers.
what?
I didn't get a proper look at the little shit's face. But that pimply arse, I'd remember anywhere.
Well, Geralt.
So first thing that Geralt does, or Henry Cavill, comes over, you can see the slight smirk that all top level guys do. It's very assertive, and then, wide frame. Getting in the gym really helps, guys. I recommend this every time. Just having a wide masculine frame, big shoulders, it just really works, okay? Lands the hand on the shoulder, asserts dominance, and you can see straight away, look, he's looking down, he knows who the boss is, and he's looking down at him. Like I've said before, it's teacher, student, it's kind of dad, son, like it has that kind of dynamic, and Henry's asserted that very, very well here.
Forgive me, my lord. This happens all the time.
See the slow head turn, guys? Let's go back to here. Watch his slow head turn, and then he does that slight smirk again, okay? Masculine guys don't really make over-exaggerated facial expressions. It's something that women do. When women are explaining things, they'll make about 400 faces per second. Masculine men don't really move their face a lot. Watch the difference. So slow turn, then the slight smirk.
This happens all the time. It's true.
Okay, whereas look at the difference here. Raised eyebrows, eyes open wide, mouth open, nostrils flared, hand over the chest protecting the vital organs. It's very submissive, okay? And this is why it works so well. I know it's obviously a film, but this does happen in real life, okay guys? That's why they play these certain roles to convince the audience. Like, it's people always say that to me in the comments, and I've actually got a saved response when they say, "Oh yeah, but it isn't real." It's like, no, it is, because they work very hard to make it feel real, and it kind of evokes certain emotions to the audience so that to make it more believable. That's how good they are at acting. Okay, but you've got both individuals with their attention on Henry Cavill here, which is very important. And that's what happens when you have great body language. People will pay attention to you.
He has the face of a cat and a coward. But truth be known, he was kicked in the balls by an ox as a child.
You hear the difference in his sentences as well, the way he brings them down at the end. Yeah, that's completely different to how, for example, this is something that humans do very, very poorly, is when you meet somebody for the first time, you might say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" You know, your voice goes up, and a lot of guys can't really control that. It's very, very hard. You have to train your brain to get into a pattern of just, "Hi, how are you?" You know, just kind of keeping that low tone. And the reason we do it is to show that we're not a threat, we're friendly. That's not a good image to portray to the world as a man. So just try that as practice. You know, you're going to meet people on a daily basis, especially women, and so many guys will raise their voice. "Hi, how are you? How's your weekend?" You know, this just happens so often, and it's not a good look. It doesn't give off the right messages. If you can just stay kind of within this tone, like, don't obviously, "Hi, how are you?" Like, don't overdo it like some teenage boy. But if you can just maintain that kind of monotone when talking to people, it will just show that you are in control and you are the dominant figure, not trying to impress anybody else.
Well, that's true. Apologies.
Okay, so now we can see how quickly this guy's moving around. You've clearly got Henry Cavill with the dominant frame, okay? He's come over, he's just the slow movements, the solid body language. It's kind of, I know he's got the height advantage, but he looks like Superman now. But he is looking down on this guy, and this guy's body language has changed completely. You know, he's panicking. Instead of arms by his side, he's now got an arm raised up. You know, and the higher it is, the more emotional you are, usually. You know, you should gesture within this truth plane here. If we look at Henry, it's within this midsection. You see a lot of presidents do this, and prime ministers, when they talk, they'll gesture in what's called here the truth plane. It's a guy called Mark Bowden who came up with that. I learned most of my body language from that guy. He's got a ton of books on the subject. Guy's a genius. I'll try and get him on the podcast. Really cool guy. But you should definitely buy his books. But this guy's jumping around everywhere now. Look.
Here, drown your sorrows on me, eunuch.
So he's even bowed to Henry Cavill, and he looked down at the floor when he walked away, okay? Watch Henry Cavill here. So it's a very slow head turn, but he's watching this guy out the corner of his eye. And this sort of shows dominance because you're not in a threatened scenario. So this guy was being aggressive. Henry Cavill's not worried at all. And it's very predator and prey. So if you were the prey, you'd be looking at, you'd be panicking, okay? You'd be absolutely panicking, you'd be turning, making sure that you could see what was going on here. Just not worried. Watch him.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
See what I mean, guys? With the slow turn and the slow step across and then the strong eye contact to finish. It's almost like, yeah, this guy's not a problem. He's not even worth my full attention. I'm just going to make sure, you know, I'm just going to watch him go, you know, just kind of look at him as I move to the sides, like he's not going to get my full attention, and then I'm going to move forward and my full attention is going to be on my friends who I now want to talk to, with strong eye contact, planted feet, solid shoulders. Like, Henry Cavill is brilliant at this.
Thank you so much. First of all, you hog all the fanfare, then you go and ruin my...
See how many hand gestures he's making and how high they are, guys? They're all like up around about this kind of region. Just do less as a man. Henry's very good at this. This is why I said composure. But watch this.
So much. First of all, you hog
1, basically 2, how high they are.
Fanfare, then you go and ruin my...
3, like he's taking a step forward as well, or at least to the side of him. His facial expressions are everywhere. Eyebrows are high, eyes are wide, mouth wide open, nostrils flared, as I said earlier. Just so much going on. It's so feminine. Whereas Henry Cavill is just stationary, he's stoic. It makes such a difference, I promise you.
Courtly reputation.
I saved your life. You're on your own from here on.
So his face has barely moved, his body hasn't moved. When he's gesturing, when he's talking, he's doing zero gesturing. He doesn't need his hands to talk, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, guys. There's certain scenarios. If you're explaining something, let's say you're a teacher or whatever, make a very boring lesson if you just stood there talking in this monotone, holding eye contact with the students like some creep. Like, you know, it definitely comes down to scenario based, but if you are talking to a woman you find attractive, or you're trying to gain an upper hand in social situations, yeah, you can deploy this, okay? It works really well.
Try not to get any daggers in your back before dawn.
Okay, finally, guys, we come over to real life. Henry Cavill in awkward situations. This one, he's talking to Simon Pegg, and he's calling him, knob means like you're a dick, like a dickhead in the UK. They're just explaining, I guess for American TV, they're explaining British terms. That's usually what happens, right? I feel like I'm on Jeopardy, trying to figure out what the question was. But number one, he's maintaining great eye contact here, but the way that Simon Pegg says that, you know, he's trying to talk about something negative about Henry, and Henry doesn't flinch. Watch this.
But if I called you a dick, then I'd be wrong, because you're not a dick. You're a lovely man. Well, sorry.
Okay, you see that, guys? The way he's completely composed throughout the whole thing. I think it's about here.
Then I'd be wrong, because you're not a dick. You're a lovely man.
So he's unreactive, he's not done too much. He's shuffled a little bit, his hands are in the truth plane here. Still, obviously, the large frame really helps, but he's not being overreactive. His face is barely moved. Not too many facial expressions. He doesn't look shocked. He's taking the kind of negative hit on the chin.
Man. Well, sorry.
He's obviously gone in for a fake kiss. You know, it's a bit of comedy. But look at the facial expression.
Sorry.
Slight smirk. The slow blink that all masculine guys do. And he's got great skin, actually, hasn't he? I'd never really realised that. But the slight smirk, the slow blink that these masculine guys do, you know, and he's just shook it off. He hasn't moved. His head hasn't launched back this way, you know, in panic or anything like that. Just completely relaxed and composed in all scenarios.
His voice in my head. And that's kind of an undeniable sign that it was meant for him.
I often have his voice in my head.
Different!
So a compliment being said about him here, barely moving again. No facial expression, no real, well, a slight one, but no real reaction. He's, like I said, he doesn't get embarrassed or flustered. He's just composed in all scenarios.
Different
images and his voice. Sorry, I do. Go on. Sorry, Lord.
Okay, guys, well, that's the video. You can see how he's pretty much playing the same character in real life as he does in his films. And obviously the series like The Witcher, and that's why it works so well. It translates so well on the screen. His latest thing as Sherlock Holmes on, I believe it's on Amazon Prime. Could be on Netflix, to be fair. I don't really know. But he's exactly the same in that. Very composed. I saw a couple of clips, barely moving. Not a lot of facial expressions, not exactly flustered or gesturing. Just composed and calm and focused in all scenarios. And he's fantastic at this, okay? And it comes as a whole package. I think since he's put on the muscle, he's kind of become like a father figure to so many people around them. He's stepped into that alpha male role, and it really suits him. I think he probably went to private school. I think if I look at his history, I think he did. I think he played rugby. So I'm kind of piecing the puzzle pieces together there. Well, a lot of people went to private school, are very relaxed in these scenarios. They don't really panic. They don't really get flustered. And he has that aura about him. And it's fantastic to see that it's emulated off screen as well as on screen, okay? But I hope you learned something new, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio.